Hello and welcome to LG Future Talk at CES 2021. My name is Amy Aliyah and I am thrilled to be your host today for this very special event at a historic first ever all-digital CES. Now, as the global pandemic lingers on with such profound impact on all of our lives, we're once again faced with the most pressing questions of technology and innovation. How can technology help us better fight the pandemic? Will our recent experiences change the way we live and work for good? And if so, how? What is the key to digital transformation in the age of the new normal? Well, with me here in the studio to discuss these fascinating questions, the latest solutions from LG, and so much more is the President and CTO of LG Electronics, Dr. I.P. Park.
Hey, Amy.
Hello.
Good to see you.
Good to see you. A big welcome
Thank you.
and thank you for joining me today.
Thank you, Amy, and pleasure to meet you again.
Of course. How have you been?
I've been good, thanks. There were a few weeks of working from home, but I think it's fair to say that South Korea has been a relatively safe place during this pandemic.
And thank heavens for that. But actually, speaking of the pandemic, I know there have been a number of LG products that really stood up to the challenge in personal protection and care.
You're right. And we'll have to start with LG PuriCare wearable air purifier. As you can probably tell from the name, it brings all the technology behind our LG PuriCare air purifier into a wearable form.
Yes, and I actually tried one earlier, and the first thing you notice is just how light it is.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
And yet it has dual fans and a respiratory sensor, which means the fan operation automatically adapts to your breathing. A real feat for LG R&D, from breathing algorithm analysis to ergonomic design to batteries.
Fantastic stuff. You know, I love how LG took what they're good at, making the air purifier, and applied it to a new form to meet the challenge of the day.
Well, there's another one like that. Our smart thermal camera does thermal detection like they do at airports and big buildings, but it's all autonomous and with facial recognition, so you don't need someone sitting behind the camera all day. And when you have a person with high temperature, it not only detects the temperature, but it also identifies the person.
That's great, but you know, now we're all wearing face masks, hopefully those PuriCare ones. But how does that work with facial recognition?
Yeah, and that's why we've gone a step further to make facial recognition work even with your face mask on. And that's thanks to our continued investment in artificial intelligence.
Incredible stuff. So these are all very innovative, very timely responses to the pandemic. LG at its best, I think. But I also wanted to talk with you about the world after the pandemic. Do you think the pandemic has changed our lifestyle for good?
Well, a good question. So we are all talking about the new normal, but I think we have to bear in mind that change, the post-COVID change, is not a given. And we have to really make it happen. Any of the positive changes in our lifestyle that we have had during the pandemic, if we really want to make them last, we must be able to provide enabling solutions that are sufficient alternatives to the old way of doing things.
Interesting. Could you give me an example of this?
Sure, take robotics, for example. You know how we've been doing so much with our LG Chloe fleet of robots. There are guide bots at the airports, chef bots cooking meals at restaurants, serve bots delivering those dishes, carrying samples at hospitals, and now even UV robots like you saw during our press conference yesterday.
You mean the ones that go around with the UV lamp module to reduce germs, right?
That's right. And that's all great. But if there was one area which really had an explosive growth because of all this lockdown and social distancing, it's got to be online retail and delivery. You know, food, groceries, shopping. Am I right?
Oh, tell me about it. Actually, my delivery app is never off these days.
Exactly. And for the reasons of safety and speed and economy, unmanned delivery chain has been everyone's dream. And I think the pandemic has given the industry a real push to make that happen. So our mission, our challenge is to provide a robotic solution for full door-to-door delivery. And there's been some real progress. Our Chloe server bots can now use elevators which is a must for moving around all those different buildings. And we are getting closer than ever to producing all-round delivery robots that can do entire door-to-door journey autonomously, meaning both indoor and outdoors. Now, that'll be a real breakthrough because we're talking about navigating through very different environment with totally unpredictable obstacles and events. And that requires a completely different levels of maneuvering, robustness, coordination, and control. So the answer to your question is, yes, the pandemic does give us opportunities to make change, but we have to have the right technology ready to be able to capture those opportunities.
I see. But I mean, I know LG is a firm with such a wealth of technology, but surely you can't have all the technology you need to pull off everything at the speed you need to.
Well, as a CTO, I should probably feel tempted to say, yes, we can, and yes, we do. But you're right, we can't. We simply can't do everything ourselves because the world is just changing too fast. So we have to work with others and innovate as a team.
Right. And that's the open innovation that you always talk about.
Absolutely. I'm a firm believer in the power of partnership across disciplines and industries, sometimes even with competitors, if that means being able to deliver what's right for our customers.
Great. And I think we have a little clip of a chat you had recently with another great advocate of collaborative approach to innovation. Let's have a look.
Gary, what a historic show this year and all digital CES. I have to begin by congratulating you for managing to put this all together.
Thanks, IP. We're successful because you're here and LG is here. And yes, this is the first time we've gone all digital in our 54-year history. But the fact is our industry thrives on change and the power of digital transformation. We've all had to try new ways of doing things over the past year. And certainly CES is no exception. But I'm glad that we've had this opportunity to show how it can be done, putting the latest innovation in connectivity and communication to the test.
Absolutely. But of course, CES has been changing on us even before the pandemic. I've been seeing more and more companies from outside the traditional electronics industry joining the show. Especially automakers have really had a much bigger presence over the past decade or so.
That's totally correct. And that's because these days every company is a tech company. Just look at what you have parked in your driveway today. Is it a car or is it an incredibly sophisticated machine with amazing new safety features and entertainment options? Our cars are becoming electric, self-driving, and connected. So much so that the boundary between the tech industry and the automotive industry is blurred. You know all about this. You and LG have been doing so much more lately when it comes to mobility. And the fact is, technology and disciplines are converging to facilitate a host of digital innovations. AI, 5G connectivity, IoT, cloud, sensors, navigation, batteries. Put them together, throw in some innovation, and they are transforming mobility. And we're seeing that sort of change in so many other areas, like transport, and logistics, agriculture, healthcare, even food.
Which means we really have to think and act outside the electronics box to make the whole digital transformation relevant, to offer real values and to really change lives. Which is why here at LG we are broadening our horizon like never before, partnering with big global players as well as startups, and sometimes even with our competitors, because, well, we simply have to, if you're going to be able to provide what our customers want the way they want it.
Exactly. CES, though, has always been about partnerships. It's about leaders from across the tech ecosystem coming together to meet one another and do business. The biggest challenge in creating an all-digital CES this year was recreating that sense of connection, of being together, because collaboration doesn't happen in a vacuum. It requires honesty and an open exchange of ideas. In fact, I saw you did something really terrific in this area. You recently launched a great initiative of your own, the LG Innovation Council.
Yes, it's a group of experts in a variety of tech disciplines. We have Rodney Brooks on robotics, Adrian Cockcroft, who does cloud architecture at Amazon Web Services, David Foster from shared mobility firm Lyft, and Sri Shivananda, CTO of PayPal, and all the others who bring in such an inspiring diversity of perspectives to the table. The idea is to learn from each other and to find opportunities for new collaboration. Actually, it would be great if you could join us sometime as well.
I would love to be sitting in that room talking with people like yourself and these other great leaders, because that's the sort of innovative multidiscipline engagement is how we're going to get through this pandemic and future challenges.
You bet. And speaking of the pandemic, before you go, are there any tech domains in your view that have been particularly impacted by the pandemic and we should pay attention to? I know you talk a lot about resilience in your book, Ninja Future.
Oh, wow. I'm so glad you've read it. That's great. You're absolutely right. This pandemic has been one of the greatest tests of resilience in living memory. And we've been talking about resilience at CES and smart cities and smart cars and all these other things for a long time. And as for the pandemic's effect on technology and innovation, I think we should focus on what we've learned that will last beyond the very special circumstances of a global pandemic. Take healthcare, for example. The pandemic showed the need to make our healthcare system better and more cost-effective. It's proven that innovation allowing telehealth and remote patient monitoring helps deliver better patient value, outcomes, and experiences. We're going to have to work hard together to harness these advancements long-term.
Excellent. Well, I'm going to let you go now because I know how busy you are during CES, but thank you so much for your time and make sure that you look after yourself.
Wow, that was a great conversation you had there with the president and CEO of Consumer Technology Association, Gary Shapiro. And I guess the key takeaway is really that partnership, a very open partnership, is how we can excel through digital transformation.
Quite right, because we just have to. And that's why you'll see more and more of this collaborative approach in everything that we do at LG, especially under the ThinQ brand.
Of course, yes, we have to talk about ThinQ, LG's brand for AI and now IoT-enabled products, right?
Yes, but we are already going further than that. It's not just about individual appliances and devices that have AI capacity and connectivity. It's more about building an entire ecosystem where LG and partners work together to expand, enhance, and enrich what we offer to those we serve. And the magic is in creating a platform where we can connect all those products and services across categories so our consumers can get more out of their user experience with less time and less stress.
Which I guess is the thinking behind the direction that ThinQ app is taking.
Correct. So what began really as a control app for our appliances, we are now turning it into a digital lifestyle platform. For example, on ThinQ app, there's an online store which allows you to purchase items that you use with our appliances. We've naturally started with parts and supplies for LG products, like filters for vacuum cleaners. But soon you'll find more and more items there from our partners that work with our products. So Tovala, for instance, is an incredible startup which produces those wonderfully healthy and delicious meal kits. And starting this year, you will be able to purchase Tovala meal on our ThinQ app. So pick and order meal kit of your choice. They get delivered to your home right away.
Hopefully by Chloe delivery robots soon, right?
Yes, definitely. And with almost no prep, you just put in your meal kit into the oven, LG oven, and you're basically done.
Oh, that sounds too good to be true. I would love that.
Well, it gets even better. We've been working with Tovala to offer scan to cook on our oven, which means that with all these different kinds of meal kits, you just need to scan the one you've chosen, and the oven will automatically find the optimal setting and cook it to perfection. Literally, zero stress meal ready to enjoy.
Perfect.
Pretty good, right? The idea is that although online shopping and meal kits and ovens are all different categories of products and services, as long as they are all part of one task, we need to really connect them up. And it's that connection which allows us to really enhance the user experience. And for us as providers of these products and services, working together has been a great learning process. Isn't that right, David?
Absolutely, IP. Tavala's partnership with LG actually started in 2019 when we integrated LG's smart oven and ranges with the Tavala app. In fact, LG cooking appliances were the first non-Tavala ovens in the industry to get Tavala compatibility. We made that choice deliberately because we knew that LG had the technology and expertise to not only achieve that integration, but also work with us to really optimize the cooking process. Tavala meals are prepared by professional chefs with the freshest ingredients. So we wanted to make sure that cooking would be just right too. And working with LG will help us deliver just that for so many more people that already have LG ovens at home. Over the last year, as awareness and interest in Tavala has grown, we've seen something like 300% growth in demand for Tavala meals. Our focus going forward is on getting even more people to have a taste of the Tavala experience. And putting our trial meals on the LG ThinkU app will be a great boost in that direction. We're very excited to see what kinds of new audiences and people will come to experience Tavala via the ThinkU app, and what more we can learn from delivering that Tavala customer experience to them. From what I've seen so far, the ThinkU app is going to be a very interesting platform because it's going to combine online retail with control for appliances. So much could come out of having the full scope of user experience on one platform, which is why we're so keen to join that ecosystem. So for us, it's all about building and expanding that ecosystem with partners like LG to achieve our common purpose: high quality meals with less stress.
David Rabi, CEO of Tavala there, and of course, there'll be many others joining this ThinkU app platform.
You bet. As David said just now, the idea is to keep expanding the ecosystem. So over the course of this year, you'll be able to see on the ThinkU app household food brands like Nestle and Kraft Heinz, home services like Home Advisor, and so much more. And with that network of partners growing, we'll be able to create and connect more and more touch points with our consumers. In fact, ThinkU app is just one example of this platform concept. We recently opened a ThinkU home here in Korea, a real house that has all the connected smart appliances, sustainable energy solution, and intelligent home management system. It's a living lab of its own kind where we can really experiment in real life setting how all these connected products and services work together and better. But the important thing is that ThinkU Home as a system is another platform where we want to work with a whole range of partners so we can take it to the next level. So really, I think everything that we do, even individual products, we now have to take everything as a platform. And the platform, is only as good as players on it, which is why, again, these partners will be so essential to LG's innovation going forward.
That's great, because we're just about to hear from a couple more of them who have super interesting questions for you, IP.
Oh, easy ones, I hope.
Well, we'll have to see. So the first one comes from Jean-François Gagné of Element AI, with whom you've been collaborating on AIX, right?
Yes, the levels of AI experience, which we announced at CES last year. That's a framework for the future of AI technology in terms of how it'll change the human experience.
Yes, I remember. 4 levels, right?
That's right. From level 1, efficiency, to level 2, personalization, then reasoning, and then exploration. It's about mapping out all the progress in what AI can do for us.
That's it. And I hear you have a new report out.
Yes, we do. And this one is called AIX Exchange. And it's called that because it basically is an exchange of ideas and thoughts about AIX from a dozen experts in all different fields, from AI and robotics to consumer rights and even ethics. So that's another platform we opened up there to engage with industry leaders, researchers, policymakers, and of course, consumers to figure out how better to use AI for our innovation.
How fascinating. Well, here's a question from Jean-François Gagné, the founder and CEO of Element AI.
Hey IP, good to see you again. And let me begin with a huge thanks and congratulations for the launch of AIX Exchange project. For a company like Element AI working on very complex technical problems, it's really important to keep in touch with how AI impacts real world and real lives. That's why I really appreciate working on an initiative like AIX. It reminds us the central importance of human experience, and that's something that too often gets overlooked. Working with you and LG is always an inspirational experience for me because of that direct connection that you have with your consumers through your product and your services. That unique human insights is well reflected in our AIX levels because it's all about what AI can do for our lives rather than the progress in the merely technical sense. So IP, a question for you. Do you have any new ideas or concepts you can share that uses the power of AI to bring us to the next level of AI experience?
That's a great question, and I think our Vision Pack concept is a perfect example of how we are leveraging the power of AI to achieve level 2 and level 3 experiences. So Vision Pack is a constantly evolving concept, but the essence of it is quite simple, giving visual intelligence to our products so they can see and understand what's going on around them. For example, imagine if your refrigerator can see and identify what's inside. You don't have to open your fridge door to check what you have. So from your phone, even when you're outside, you can check your inventory and buy what you need. But that's just the beginning. We're working with our partners to connect online shopping so your fridge can make sure you are never out of milk, or recommend recipes based on ingredients that you already have, as well as your personal diet and preferences. And when you are about to cook, prepare cooking appliances to optimal settings in advance.
That's just awesome. And again, collaborative innovation.
Quite so. Another example might be Vision Pack on smart mirrors. So your mirror, if and only when you enable it, can read your face and offer services from our partners. Maybe your face looks flushed in the morning. Your mirror recognizes that, does a quick diagnosis, and recommends a chat with a physician without you having to go in and visit a clinic. Or it can assist with your makeup by recognizing your skin tone and condition, recommend different styles based on your schedule for the day, and even guide you as you put on makeup of your choice, and of course apply the same kind of user experience to fashion, would give you Think You Fit that you know only too well, our virtual clothes fitting solution. So these are very interesting ideas, and we can do all of them and so much more because we are working with partners who bring in their special expertise in different domains.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. So let's go straight to our next question.
Hello, IP. Thanks for this great opportunity to announce the launch of Aluta, our new joint venture with LG Electronics. We've been working together on mobility solutions for quite some time, but now, with this new multi-talented team dedicated to the future of mobility, I think we are really going to be able to forge ahead with our vision. One of the key objectives is to develop new solutions on WebOS Auto, which is an excellent platform in so many ways. Content diversity, adaptability, availability as a white label solution, and so on. But for me, one of the greatest things about WebOS Auto is that it encourages us to think beyond the in-vehicle experience. You know, what happens inside your car? And that's because its parent platform, WebOS, already has an installed base of over 120 million consumer devices, from small TVs to refrigerators, and it's growing by 20 million a year. This gives WebOS Auto an inherited advantage, connecting your car with all the other touch points of life like home and the office. After all, connected car isn't just about giving a vehicle internet connection. The really important question for the user is about what it is connected to and which new experience they can discover. So here's my question. What do you think is the most critical challenge in reinventing the in-car experience, especially for meaningful connections with life beyond mobility?
A very interesting question from Dmitry Loshinin, the CEO of Lugsoft, another key partner of yours, I understand.
Absolutely. And I'm also thrilled about our new JV called Aluto. We're going to have an online launch on January 27th, and that'll be the beginning of another exciting journey into the future of mobility. In my view, one of the most important things about reinventing the in-car experience is that perhaps more so than in any other domain, there needs to be a close and dynamic interaction between hardware and software. The two really have to blend in with each other in such a constrained space, and in doing so, create new possibilities. So for example, with our new smart cabin concept for long distance, intercity, road travel, real focus is on integrating interactive hardware like displays on ceilings and windows with experiences that are powered by WebOS Auto. So it's not just about having a few more apps on the control panel, but rather recreating the whole range of functional spaces in your car, from office or meeting room or studio to personal theater, shopping mall, or even your bedroom, all in a way that is completely immersive.
And that's vehicles as mobile spaces, as you so often talk about.
That's right. And for this kind of concept to become a reality, we need the whole mobility system to move together, which is why we are always exploring new horizons with exciting ideas like LG SVL simulator technology. It builds a digital twin of the real world so you can test around all sorts of solutions from smart mobility to delivery robots that I mentioned earlier. The idea is to build a cloud-based platform for connected mobility ecosystem where we can offer things like an intelligent fleet management solution and even a smart command center for the whole smart city. So once again, we come back to the importance of working together across industries because building and expanding this kind of ecosystem is absolutely a multidisciplinary effort.
You know, I couldn't agree with you more, but I'm afraid our time's nearly up, but we could quickly do just one more question before we wrap up, because I know this is the one that everyone watching at home will be really interested in, and that is, of course, rollables. Now, rollable TVs are finally out, and it is amazing. But what about the rollable phone? Now, I think we had a glimpse of it yesterday during the press conference. What can you tell us about that?
Well, somehow I knew you were going to ask that. As you know, we've been exploring new possibilities with rollable display for some time now, and we are beginning to see them in real products. For example, LG Signature OLED R is out now to a fantastic market response. And we also had rollable display in our smart cabin concept, where I think the value of this flexible form factor is multiplied. And now a rollable phone with an expanding screen, we're hoping to see it out in the market early this year. And it really is about redefining and reshaping experiences. And in fact, I'd even say that that's the whole point of rollable display technology, achieving this incredible level of versatility in form factor. Thanks, of course, to our innovative OLED technology. It's important and meaningful because it gives us that freedom to rethink so much of what we're doing and how we're doing it. It's about reshaping our lives at a very fundamental level. And again, rollable is another new and much more flexible ecosystem where we'll need to work with everyone to facilitate new experiences.
Well, on that fascinating thought, I'm going to have to let you go. Thank you so much, IP, for joining me and everyone watching from all over the world. And I hope to see you again soon and hear more about LG's vision.
Of course. And thank you so much for having me.
Well, how was that? From the innovative response to the pandemic to ThinkU as a platform, the new AIX exchange, and the future of mobility. There's little doubt that for all the disruptions and difficulties we're going through right now, with LG and its open approach to innovation, life is on. So find out more about what IP and I have been talking about today, as well as all other innovations from LG, by visiting our virtual exhibition. I've had a peek myself earlier, and it really is a must. And with that, I've been your host, Amy Aliyah, and that was LG Future Talk at CES 2021. Thank you so much for watching, and take care.